Hey, good morning. Tom here. Flip Anything USA. So, I've been talking about this recession we're in and going into and getting deeper in. I want everybody to know this. I'm not a fatalist. I think there's all kinds of opportunities. You got to remember, it was a recession back in 1981 that triggered me to become self-employed. And, we got layoffs coming. We got Walmart, this is small, but this is how it begins, is you start to hear about small layoffs, and then they just keep increasing and growing. Anyways, so this makes sense anyways. I mean, layoff is, at Walmart, they're cutting the fat, the corporate fat. They're going to do that everywhere. All these, you look for to get rid of the jobs you need the least, right? And when you're not growing, like Amazon's not growing, Amazon's subletting their space now. They had anticipated growth. They about doubled during the pandemic, and now they realize, that trend isn't continuing. And then add the, supply shortages and different things like that. Anyhow, we're going to chat about that. Listen, millennials and Gen Xers, listen, you got a hell of an opportunity in front of you. You can make a lot of money during a recession. You just got to be careful and don't be with the masses. Following the masses gets you in trouble every time. But we're going to talk about that.
Stop and listen. Time is on a mission to eliminate all the snake oil and the fake gurus that fake y'all. He'll show you how to build an empire, starting with nothing but a desire. All you really need is a good mentor, not a used car bullshit. With time, you'll learn to crush it. Investing like Warren Buffett. With real estate, you cannot procrastinate. Everyone who hesitates is left at the starting gate. Hey, yo, so don't delay and join today. The mentorship and flip anything. USA, go.
All right. So look, with every major change there is in the economy, it brings about an opportunity. Every bank crisis, when things go down, we get to come in and pick up the pieces. Hopefully you're not one of the pieces getting picked up by other people. But it brings about opportunity. And just look, I reflect on my own deals. I show you my own life. I started in a recession. We're going into one now. I've never been more comfortable in my life. I anticipate I'll probably never make more money in my life than I will during this recession, because those are the kind of opportunities that it brings. And you guys can be a part of it. Whether you have money or not, it's not about that. It's about finding the deal and taking advantage of opportunities and using your eyes and opening and just try to see things that other people don't see. So, but like I said, just talk about the economy for a second. You got people that try to reassure you, particularly our politicians. They're going to try to reassure you that everything's fine. If you see they keep backpedaling, right? They always overpromise and underdeliver. So you can always count on that from a politician. They overpromise, underdeliver. Whether it's a shot's going to knock everything out, they're calling a shot that doesn't. They don't even know what a vaccination is. Vaccination is not a vaccination. They got to quit calling that thing a vaccination. Everybody I know that's getting the issue. I don't even want to say the word. I'll get booted from YouTube or I'll get shadow banned. But the bottom line is they overpromise, underdeliver. That's how they get elected. They overpromise, underdeliver. So, but let's just talk about the opportunities that can come about. So, in my case, my boss went under, and I got laid off, but I was prepared, right? I told you I started a cabinet shop. Well, the whole year that I worked for somebody, and I only worked for somebody about a year and a half before I became self-employed permanently, and was working in a cabinet shop. And what I was buying tools so that I could do the same. I could utilize my skills on my own without my boss. And so when I got laid off, it was simple. The only thing I didn't have was a shop or a building, and that ended up leading to my first deal. And so with that, there's always something good to come about it. In other words, some people are petrified and they just kind of go into the fetal position, but really, listen, it's just a new opportunity opening up for you. You think about how many big companies have started as a result of somebody getting laid off. It's a wonderful thing. So let's look here. So don't be afraid. Trust yourself. You're brighter than you think. Most people are dumber than you think. and don't do what they're supposed to do. And like I said, the masses are the asses. Just don't fall into that group. So Chris here says he's going to sign a contract that he's been working on for a year. Chris is in my class, by the way. And, I just closed one. I'm going to show you guys that house. I'm doing a video. You guys let me know. I can show you a house. I can give you the walkthrough. I can show you when I purchased it. Or would you rather I just wait till the whole damn thing's done? I've already got it. I was already buying siding for the property before I even closed the deal. That's already being delivered. That's being delivered today, and I only closed the house the day before. But so when that goes, do you guys, what do you do? I hate to say it, but a lot of times I spend a lot that you want me piecemeal. Let me know about that. So also regarding layoffs, well, looks like Tesla's already talked about everybody taking a 10% hit, take it or leave it, and you've got I think Oracle is talking about dumping thousands of jobs. You guys that are worried about being self-employed or worried about like I said in my video the other day, pretend you lost your job and start conducting yourself that way. And you'll be totally prepared for the storm that's ahead. It won't even be a storm. It'll just be a giant opportunity that comes about. If you're an employer, and I'm an employer, but if you're an investor like me, you just start socking away your money right now and get ready. Get ready for the opportunities that are to come. And believe me, a deal today is not the same as a deal 6 months ago. So don't be fooled about what a deal is today as compared to 6 months ago. Anyways, so what do you guys got to say? What do you think, Chris? You're confident enough to buy a property. Where are you at on that? Delta, glad you're here. Delta, you said you were bilingual the other day. Do you utilize that right now for a skill? If you're bilingual, let me just tell you, China's going to own Mexico before long and half of America. They're coming in here buying us up left and right. I actually tried to, one of my companies, I tried to make it 100% all-American, and this is machine shops and machine tools and manufacturing. I couldn't do it because half of the companies were now owned by China, or we don't make much here anymore. It's a shame. Don said he lost his job, and so what are you doing about it? Did you lose it recently, Don, or did you lose it before you joined the mentorship? Don's also in the mentorship. Anyways, if I hadn't been laid off, I probably would be behind the ball today. I wouldn't be where I'm at if I hadn't been laid off. So don't be afraid of layoffs. It's just a fork in the trail, and you just got to keep heading toward the money, whatever that is, and and trust yourself. Who else out there? Carlos, what do you got going? Anyways, I was kind of giving a rant yesterday. The stupidity out there is very sad because there's a lot of people that are vulnerable, gullible, and they're nice people. They're just not very bright. And I hate for anybody to get caught and be taken advantage of. And so that's one of the reasons I try to enlighten people how I can, just based on my own life. But let's see. Oh, what do we got here? Oh. Anyways, so guys, looks like we may not have the best connection here, but I will be showing you guys the new house that I just bought. Also did an interview recently with a student, and we did a drive-by. That's actually Chris, who was in here earlier. And anyways, we'll see you guys later. I'm not even sure we have 100% good connection here anyway, so we'll catch y'all later. And be sure to hang out and hit that notification buttons. Hit that like and subscribe. It just takes a second. I take time to make these videos, and what pays off is when I see the people that are actually going to utilize my mistakes to their advantage and my successes as well. Seeing people being able to do things that they wanted to do for their families that they couldn't otherwise do a few years earlier is a wonderful thing. Ultimate Bargain says he's looking for hard money lenders, private money lenders, normal lenders. Well, this is what's interesting. As the banks tighten up, there's people, there's, like I say, finding cash has always been easy for me. Never had a problem finding cash. And what you'll see is now that people are sitting on their cash, they're afraid to invest. Well, if you've got a deal, some of them don't mind being in a first position. They'll loan money, but they just got to be in the position of first trustee. And some of them actually can be competitive with bank rates. Bank rates right now, I think about 5 1/4 for a home. That they try to act like. I mean, to be honest, my first home I paid 9 1/4, and that was coming down from rates that had been 14 or 16% prior to that. So, 5 1/4 doesn't scare me. I'm actually just turning a term loan. I'm turning a line of credit into a term loan right now. Because and I'm locking that one in at 5 1/4. I should have done it earlier. I would have had it at 4, but I'm busy. Just like everybody else. So let's see. Oh, hey, German, glad you're reading the book. Glad the connection's good. Appreciate that, Greg. Ultimate Bargains. Listen, anything you guys want to bring up, bring it up. We'll take a look at it. I'm gonna get in. I'll be in my studio in a little bit. I start my morning in the jacuzzi every day, and it just gives me time to think about. What happened the day before, making my list. Always make your list, guys. Make your list. It's so important. I'll tell you, I knock a lot of work out in a very short time, but it's because I make a list and I stay on top of it, stay on top of the people that are executing all the, the chores. So Chris wrote, my property I'm buying is extremely rare. Only lot like it in town. The only vacant lot on deep water portion of a river. Buying for $199, building a house for $200 and selling it, well, hopefully you're selling it for that much, Chris. I know. Chris knows his market. He just sold one in that same area. Go ahead, Delta. Ask any question you want. We'll call it, Delta's young man. I think you're in Texas, right, Delta? Anyhow, bilingual. He's getting ready to spread his wings and start flying. Anxious to see what you end up doing, Delta, because you've been a student of the channel for at least 2 years that I know of, or can remember, maybe more. And it's wonderful. Listen, I've had just last week, one student closed a deal, $750,000. The week prior, another student closed a deal, $1,050,000. He's got $700,000 he needs to go find a home for. The other one has almost as much. Another guy closed a house, made $104,000. He's looking where to place that money. He's also doing all the things that I teach you. Tax-deferred exchange. I mean, that is an option that's out there for everybody. It's not exclusively for the rich. So you definitely want to do that. Delta, you better get to your question pretty soon. Do you think there will be more seller? Yeah, in all honesty, there should. I mean, there's been. Low interest brings about these opportunities too. Low interest, when I was a kid, you get 10% interest on your money. So imagine that, you save 10 grand, you get $1,000 a year. It was a tremendous return on savings. Well, now the interest rate's so low, obviously the banks can't offer that. But now they're offering a little bit more. But really, we've been conditioned with these low rates now for so long that some people, I think, are happy to just loan cash. Liam was in here the other day. Liam's a student. He's also got he's got a rich person's problem. He's got a bunch of cash, trying to find a place for it, just like Chris. It looks like Chris found one just in time to get a piece of his money deferred. He's making more than 200, but at least he found a place to defer 200 of it. Delta wrote, trying to get my first car, and I don't know if I should get it right now or wait until the rest. Well, Delta, listen, there's no reason you can't always, you should be looking for a deal. And, this is actually, Delta brings up a good point. I want everybody to let this settle in. He's going to be looking for a used car. He's a young man. I assume he's looking for a used car. I hope you are. When you look for something used, okay, every piece of real estate on earth pretty much, is used, right? Most of it is used. It's turning and selling. The advantage of buying used is this. When you're buying something that is used, there's a good chance it's paid for, or it's mostly paid for. Now, what does that mean? It leaves an opportunity for you to buy something under market, because it is completely paid for, or it's mostly paid for. You know, if somebody bought something brand new yesterday, that's why I say, when Chris says he's going to build a home, I always worry a little bit about anybody, because the way the world is today, I mean, sometimes it takes 6 months of plans to get done before you can even put a shovel in the ground, because they got such a mess of bureaucracy in many cities. And so Chris could go in with great intentions, everything's perfect, economic things, everything's right, but then he gets delayed 6 months getting his deal done, and now, even if he just started this project 2 months ago, the interest rates were 1.5% lower. And guess what? I think that you're going to see the interest rates jump again 0.5 point next month, maybe even 0.75 point, but they're not going to stop. It's kind of like rip the Band-Aid off, and they never like to do 1% chunks, because it's just too frightening for too many people. So they keep it under. In fact, they always talk about basis points. It's so funny, the language they use now, 750 basis points, instead of just saying 0.75%, or it's just, they didn't used to do that in the old days. So let's keep reading here. Jackson Skurlock wrote, so Delta, my point on the deal is always look for a deal. Even Warren Buffett, who's one of the most successful investors in the world, I'm not a stock guy, but I do invest the same way he does. He constantly looks for deals. And he doesn't take a swing, as he would put it, unless it's a home run. And that's what you should do. And here's the advantage, Delta. Let's say you're going to focus on a Honda Accord, which is kind of a young person's car. You get one of those used, save half of what they cost new in just a couple of years. Well, you concentrate on looking for those deals. And then pretty soon you're going to know that, and I'm just, for example, that you can get a Honda Accord used, a decent one, say with 50,000 miles or whatever, say for $10,000. But that if you realize that $10,000 is the going rate for a used car with that many miles. Well, while you're looking, then all of a sudden you find one that's $5,000, and you immediately know, I got to buy this. This is a fantastic deal. That's real estate. That's how I buy real estate. It's like looking for that car. I get to know what everything is worth at that given point in time, and then when an opportunity comes, I take it. And that's what you can do with a car. And by the way, you don't have to stop there. If while you're focusing on this Honda Accord car, and you know what the values are, you will become an expert on value on that particular car. And guess what? After you buy your car for yourself, you may come into a second opportunity where you can buy another one. I had a situation very similar on a lathe that I was buying. I was looking for lathes everywhere. On average, they were 25 to 30 grand. I'd run into some 17,000. Still wasn't a good enough deal. Well, then all of a sudden I got one for $6,000. I ordered it from Michigan, and while it was on its way from Michigan, an ad pops up locally in town, and it's the same lathe with twice as much tooling. There's $10,000 worth of tooling. This is a manual Bridgeport lathe. It's a good lathe. And I got that one for $3,000. Of course, I bought it on the spot for $3,000. But I still had a new one, or a new to me used one, on its way coming to me for $6,000. So what do you think I did? I set up the $3,000 lathe, and I wanted to see the $6,000, see if one was maybe a little bit better than the other. The $3,000 one was brand new. But so when the $6,000 lathe came in, I immediately sold it to somebody else for a profit. But see, in that moment, I had become an expert on used lathes of that model, and you're going to become an expert on whatever cars you're looking at and in this given moment. And so you may have an opportunity to buy 2 cars and sell one at a profit. That's real estate, folks. That's the same thing. If you're smart, that's how you do it. Let's keep looking at some of the things. Real estate questions here. Jackson says, I've got a small portfolio, 62 units, worth about $6 million. Well, 100,000 a unit. Interesting. My family is worried about over leveraging. That's a good concern. 60 unit worth about 30. Oh, you got about, So Jackson, I wouldn't borrow any money against that. I mean, if you've got 30% equity going into the conditions we're in, that's safe, but it's really only marginally safe. You can still go under, or you can still have, I'm just not trying to scare you. I've seen some tough shit happen. I've seen buildings, that were, cost $2 million, sell for 1.2, that go back to the bank, sell for $750, go back to the bank, sell for $500,000, go back to the bank, and then I bought it for $340. So you can see things go far below actual cost to build, placement cost, as we say. So he's got 100 grand in reserves, $33K mortgage payment, $33,000 in mortgage payments on your $6 million. Okay, sounds like you're getting paid off fairly quickly. Yeah, I would hold tight on that. I wouldn't take any equity out of that if that's what you're asking. Would you sell it? I don't know enough about your property to tell you. Listen, every area is different. The numbers don't lie, but you also got to look at your economic conditions locally. I tell you, everybody, you don't necessarily have to worry about the whole world. You don't have to worry about your whole country. And as far as your investment portfolio, a lot of times you just need to worry about what's going on in your particular area. Because believe me, the reason the government tells you everything's so good is because they want to keep burning that tax money, and whatever they don't have, they just print more. You know how it works. And so you can have an area that's thriving all through a recession because of all the government stupidity, and I call them make work jobs. They create make work jobs, and they do that for political gain. But that's always going to be out there. That corruption's always out there, and some of us get to take advantage of it. And I might take advantage of it by renting to people that live in the area that have one of these jobs that's connected to some big stupid project. But that's how I made it. And some people get devastated. Look at the pipeline. We had this Canadian pipeline coming down. It's huge amount of business and prosperity all along that line. Biden came in and killed it and wiped out a bunch of people very quickly. He just killed it like that with a stroke of the pen. So what advice would you have for me in the coming times? Like I said, I'd sit tight, Jackson. I don't know. You're not going to be able to sell your building for as much because the money's more expensive to buy or to borrow. Let's get to Richard here. Richard, if you can't pay cash for a car, you're buying too much car. Yeah, I have mixed feelings on that, Richard. Let me put it this way. I bought a new car in my early 20s, and I bought probably 25 cars before that were used, and I made money on all those cars. But the bottom line is I had a business. I started my cabinet shop. I absolutely had to have a 100% reliable vehicle. Also, I had to specifically have a truck. I needed a flatbed truck too. So I bought a new vehicle, and I bought a semi-new, mostly new vehicle. Paid 27% interest too at the time because I didn't have good credit. I just didn't have any credit. I was a kid. But sometimes, the main thing is the vehicle's got to start, got to get you there. But you should always negotiate the best deal. And I did a video on how to get the best deal you can get on a new car. If you do feel like you have to have a new car, watch my video on buying a new car. I'm very good at getting to the bottom dollar on what a dealer can sell it for. But Richard says, like you said, he bought a hybrid, a fixer-upper, never pay retail. Yeah, Charles Givens used to say, and Charles Givens died of cancer, and he got sued over some bullshit. But he was a really good mentor for people, in as much as just a lot of common sense stuff, not over-insuring yourself, which ultimately led to him getting sued. But he died of cancer. But he used to always say, buy your dream car 2 years after it comes out. In other words, buy it used, 2 years old, save a shitload of money. It's good advice. Still under warranty too, by the way, usually. Yep, Ultimate says, learn what's bad, good, and great, and only do the great deals. Carlos says, I bought a RAV4 for $6K. Market, yeah, there you go. So Carlos, just like that, you could keep looking for those properties, and somebody may even call you and say, hey, you still looking for a car? And you can listen. I've been looking for a Toyota Land Cruiser. I'm looking for a 97 FJ80 Land Cruiser, and I want a bargain, but I want something in good shape. There's actually a body shop I was looking at buying, and they ended up getting bought by somebody else, but I befriended one of the guys that works there, called him yesterday, and I said, hey, why don't you come to work for me full-time for a while? I said, I've got an 89 Bronco I bought brand new. I still have it. And I have a 65 GMC pickup that was only a one owner that I bought. Has almost very low miles on it. I'll show it to you. And I said, hey, come to work for me, and you can work on these vehicles for the next 2 months. And he said, okay. And so I sent him pictures, and he's going to come to work for me in a week or two, and I'll just set him up with a garage and say, hey, and that'll be fun. I'll show you guys that. It's off topic, but it's cool. You'll see a car that I've had for, goddamn, how long is that? 89? That's 30 some odd years. So let's see, Jackson, small town outside of KC. Oh, the 100,000 unit. Yep. Listen, there's opportunities everywhere, and I've got some of my most prosperous students. One in particular I'm thinking about. He's, a small town. Guess what? Less competition. You can be boss hog. Remember, Dukes of Hazzard, be boss hog. He'll own everything in the neighborhood. So Jackson wrote, I understand the government jobs. I live near Whitman Air Force Base. Oh, interesting. Which drives rental rates and turnover constantly. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, Jackson. Yeah, so tell me something. Is that cyclical? Do you have regular turnover? Do you have people that come in and then they move off to another Air Force base or something like that? Or are they can somebody end up being there for 3 years? Or do they leave and does their wife and kids sit there for 3 years? I'm just curious about your model on that. Because you said turnover constantly. Boy, I don't like that. So you have a fair amount. When you have high turnover in apartments, it's really a nightmare. And this is one of the good things. I had apartment buildings, and they would be what you call maybe a C or a B minus. Now they're like a B. That I don't own anymore, but it's because the values have gone up so much. But what I had primarily Hispanic folks that would rent from me. They paid every month. They were never late, and they almost always paid with a money order. And sometimes I'd go there to talk to a tenant if some issue was going to come up, and I'd find out that the tenant that originally rented from me is long gone, and that now his brother took his place and nobody said anything, and his brother's been living there 2 years. But it's because they just pay their rent on time, and it worked out fine. Delta Road here. I'm just wondering how difficult it is to meet with bank lenders. Delta, listen, everybody, listen. Go meet a bank. Go walk in and shake hands with your local bank. And I don't care if it's a Wells Fargo or Bank One. Those are the bigger banks. Bank of America. They're not going to be as personal, but it's good learning. It's great education for you to go do that. Go talk to them about borrowing money and what they're going to require from you for your car or whatever you're thinking. But go do it. Take an interest in what they do. Listen, people like attracts like, right? Like attracts like. When you go in and talk to somebody, and that's why you'll learn a lot of my course, by the way. If you get in my mentorship, it's in my book too, but it's a different level on the book. But hey, okay, Jackson wrote here. Some stay 1 year, some stay 3 to 4 years, depending on the rank. Well, that's not a bad mix. Turnover all the time. Well, they get transferred to different bases. Do they thrash the place, or are they generally pretty good tenants? Yeah, but back to Delta, listen, and everybody, get to know your bankers locally. You walk in as a young kid, 17 years old, start talking to a banker now, or 20 or 30 or whatever age you are, it doesn't matter. Look, my latest best banker is somebody I only met a year ago, and he loaned me, I don't know, $3.8 million, and he's about to loan me another $2 million. So, and on a phone call, and he locked in the rate on a phone call. Small banks are wonderful. Chase and Wells Fargo particularly, they're big banks, and they got big problems, and they got big lawsuits, and they got some issues that are haunting them from not being able to watch their manage their people. So anyways, yeah, really important though, guys. Have confidence in yourself. Don't be afraid to talk to anybody. I'm trying to cut the glare away from you. The sun's coming up, which means I'm kind of up late this morning. But also, hey, while you guys are here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, please. And if you have time, you guys that have been around here for a long time, throw in something under the comments. Helps the channel. That's how YouTube scores these things. And also let me know what you want to hear about, or specific to what I know. Listen, I know business and I know real estate. That's what I know. And if I can help you in that regard, I'm always happy to. Jackson wrote back about his apartments, wrote, best renters we've had, never had issues getting rent, and the units just look as good as when they leave. Oh, wow. Man, that's wonderful, Jackson. I don't mind, we call them make readies when you got to make an apartment ready for you're making it ready for the next person. And, my apartments, generally the people stayed a long time. So when they moved out, listen, I had an apartment complex that nobody even owned a vacuum cleaner. They just swept the carpets out. They just swept them out. And so the carpets had to be replaced. But other than that, all I had to do was change the carpet and repaint the place, which is not a bad trade-off for a tenant that's been there 5-10 years, it's really not a bad deal. You always got to look at the numbers. You know, and so actually this is really important, and I'm going to talk about this. In fact, I'll do a video later on this. You guys hit that notification buttons because you want to be in on this one. I had a tenant, or not, sorry, I had a student. He's actually in here earlier, Chris. He says, how is it they're doing a 25% return on this property? There was a property advertised for sale, you know, for I think almost $4 million, 25% return. Gee, you know, that's fantastic return. So what he said, this doesn't seem right. Well, he's right. I immediately identified what the problem was and why it was like that. And I'll share that with you in that video. We'll go live on that. Also, who's game for coming into a Zoom? I don't care if you're new here or not. I'll do a Zoom, and we can do a Zoom where you'll be in the Zoom, and we can do some, you know, we can get into some good stuff. With the Zoom, what's nice is I can go, if you bring a property up and you want to talk and look at it, I don't care if it's one, it should be one you own. You want to be cryptic on stuff you're looking at buying, but I'll bring it right down to Google Earth, take a look at it, scrutinize it, tell you what I would do, and I'll be happy to do that. Just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm going through a bit of a surge of people joining the channel, subscribing, and also getting into my class. And the reason is, and I think other people are actually seeing things go down, businesses going down. I'm not having that problem, but it's because of the product. It's kind of like what Chris just said about having a lake property that's unique. Guess what? That's what you have with me with my mentorship. With my mentorship, basically what you have is a mentor, not a car salesman selling you a stack of books that he doesn't know shit about. That is out there. I hate for that to happen to you. Yeah, Zoom. See, I love it. I'll do a Zoom. I'll do it. You know, tell me, anybody else in? So you listen, show yourself. You hit notification buttons. All you guys hit the notification buttons, and you'll have a chance to get in this Zoom, and you'll know about it when it happens. And you can ask questions, even if you don't want to get in, show your face, whatever. You can have your face hidden. It doesn't matter, and we'll get something going. But it's vital that you learn, guys. It's vital. You know, like I tell people, if you're 40 years old and you're not a millionaire, you got to get in the class. And even if you're 50, it doesn't matter. I mean, I got guys that are in their 40s that have made several million dollars one, a couple $1 million another, and a couple just made $1 million. Many have just made, you know, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. That's nothing to sneeze at. You're making money, and there's no reason you can't even do better than that in a recession. I know it sounds crazy, but you have to understand, people panic and make rash decisions. People make stupid mistakes. Think about this for a second. How many people tell you, oh, don't buy now, real estate's too expensive, right? Oh, don't buy now, real estate's too expensive. And then when the market goes to shit, they're going, oh no, don't buy now, things have gone to hell, you don't want to buy now. So you know what I mean? There's these chronic procrastinators that always have an excuse not to do anything. And both advice that I just described is wrong. You never quit investing. You always invest. You're always looking. And when I say investing, I mean when you buy something, you must buy it under market relative to today. And that shit happens all the time. And that's why I bought at least a couple hundred properties over my 40 years. If you do the average on that, say 4 to 5 a year on average, it's always something that can happen. It's always out there. Wow, Nixon, Michigan. Price drops happening on residential here in Michigan. So like Michigan's, a bit of a scary place. I mean, for different reasons in different areas. Some high crime, some some just devastated by job losses at times. I remember there was a I can't remember exactly what it was. I think there was a stadium. It probably cost $40 million to build the thing. And it ended up selling to a Canadian company for $500,000 or right in there. And I was actually thinking about buying it myself. It's like 100-acre, huge property, huge, enormous amount of parking. I mean, you can imagine. But to put guards on that property, you would have to have guards watching it all the time. Anyways, so look, hey, guys, come back and remind me about Earl Eastburn. Remind me to tell you a story about Earl Eastburn. He's an old friend of mine. He's long dead since 2006. But he was a fantastic salesman, and he made a lot of money in real estate, made a lot of money in cars. He had a thing called Earl's Pearls. Bring him up. I'll tell you a nice story about Earl sometime. And but yeah, listen, price drops are happening everywhere on real estate, okay? Because the interest rate is what's driving that. It costs more to buy it. It's a leveraged product that requires borrowed money 99% of the time. That's why you're going to see that stuff fall off. But look at everything else. Everything else is going up, right? Box of cereal, everything is going up. All right, Carlos. You know what? I don't know what's... Carlos, if you fill out that mentorship survey and put your phone number in there, and I'll call you back today. Just do one right now. By the way, you can go get the mentorship survey. But hey, I'm going to cut it short here. I'll leave you with this. You'll see some other fantastic students here. And but you fill out the mentorship survey below. Anybody that's interested in getting in the class, and even if I don't let you in, or you can't get in at the time, I'll try to have a conversation with you and give you the best tips I can on whatever your situation is. Thanks.
It's really a perfect storm for making money in that respect. But in 1 year, his portfolio has gone from zero to $1.6 million. You're going to get 30, 22?
Yeah, I think I got 27, yeah.
27 properties. Yeah, 27 properties. John, you have to buy that. That is a great property.
I just closed on 2 houses yesterday. It's worth $250. I thought that was $170.
My first millionaire student. I don't want to screw around. I don't want to play games going back and forth. What is the absolute bottom dollar? And I'll tell you if I'm going to buy it.